Hi everybody, I'm Lorraine Sish from StampWithLorraine.com. Today I'm going to show you a clever little card that also functions as a gift card holder. It's great for the holidays or birthdays or anytime you're ready to give a little gift off the gift card. So when you open it up, there'll be a little pocket in there that you can slip your gift card in there. So as usual, I'll show you a couple little versions. And don't forget, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up down below. Please leave a comment, ask a question, and don't forget to go over to my blog, StampWithLorraine.com, where you can see more information and instructions on this card. I'm taping this live today, so I won't be editing it and putting the measurements on the screen, but you can hop over to my blog, StampWithLorraine.com, and you'll see all the measurements and some instructions there. So hope you enjoy the tutorial today. Okay, so for today's tutorial, you're going to start with a piece of cardstock that's 11 by 4 1/4, and we're going to score it in half, so that's 5 1/2, and then at 1 1/2. This 1 1/2 score line is going to create a little tab, which we're going to fold over to make a pocket for your gift card. So we'll fold that in half with your bone folder, sharpen the crease, and then that little tab is going to fold inward, that little strip. And you can press that down, get a nice sharp fold on there. So your card front is actually going to be this small piece here, so that when you open it up, this will create the pocket. So now if you have a circle punch that's maybe 1 1/2 or 1 inch, you can use it. This is not a Stampin' Up! One. Stampin' Up! Used to sell it, but we don't have those anymore. But you can find one, or you can use a die cut, or this part isn't even totally necessary, but it just looks a little bit more more formal, or a little bit nicer. It creates like a little thumb notch for somebody to pull the card out. But not to worry, because the card is going to stick out plenty anyway, okay, even if you don't have that there. So that's up to you. If you have something like that, feel free to do that. Okay, so then once that's folded over, we're going to decorate the front now. And you're going to basically have two main layers on the front. Now you can choose to, I chose for this one to have a white background with DSP on my second layer. You can have it reversed if you want. On this one here, I have it the other way. I have it colored and then, well, not really reversed, but I have it colored and I have DSP. And then I made a focal point here out of some smaller squares. But for this one, we're going to do something kind of similar. I have white and then I have the DSP. And that will get adhered down. Or you could do DSP in the back and you can do white. I'll show you one of those versions, and then you can stamp on the white. So it really is flexible either way you want to do it. Sorry if I'm going off camera here a little bit. Now this piece that we're adhering, this first layer, is 4 inches tall by 3 3/4. So make sure you have the 4 inches on the tall side. You can see that you have your border, because the card is 1 1/4. So now that gives you the 1/8 border all the way around. All right, so that's going on like that. Your next layer is 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. So you're just that 1/4 inch smaller to create your border. If you want more of a border, just trim that down a little bit. It's up to you. All right, now we have another piece. I chose a piece of DSP. You can use a contrasting cardstock if you want. That's going to be a strip of 1 1/4 by 4, and that's going to go right here on the side to use up this space here. Another option is you can put a little stamp there, maybe a design, or emboss it, whatever you want to do to decorate that. You can use a contrasting DSP, whatever you want to do. I'm using the same one. Now this DSP is not available anymore. This was free with celebrations in the fall. So this one is not available, but it does coordinate with the Peaceful Deer stamp set and the punch. So this is still available while the mini catalog is still active until the end of December 2021. So this was coordinating DSP that went along with that. Stampin' Up! Does that sometimes. And speaking of celebrations, there's going to be a celebration again in January. So January, February, there'll be another celebration. So look forward to that. There'll be a lot of spring things in there. Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to adhere this strip down to the right-hand side. And I didn't want to use the reverse of this because it has the deer on it. So that wasn't going to work for me. That would look rather silly, right? There were others, but they had some greens in there, and I figured, well, I just wanted to keep with the plaid, the buffalo plaid. Okay, so we're going to put this here. And glue that down. And, okay, we'll do that for now. And then we'll take this and we're going to adhere our deer to that. So from the DSP, I'm going to punch this out. Okay, now when you're using these punches, you're going to turn it over and it coordinates with this. Now on this DSP, there are deer that face both ways. So if you still have this DSP and you want to use it, you have to make sure you're choosing the one that goes the right direction. Okay, so we're going to line that up. There will be a little bit of a border around there, which is fine because it's going to define that shape. If you wanted to, you could of course cut it out like this on this direction, but then you wouldn't get the border. And when I'm putting it up against my black DSP, oh, there goes the phone. It's going to show up a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to layer these together. This one happens to be a 2.5 inch square layered on 2 3/4 inch square. So this is going to be my focal point today with my punch on it right like that. So let's adhere those all together. Okay, we'll layer that down there. And oh, there's talking in the background. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, then we're going to put this down on here. And I'm going to save a little bit of room for my sentiment up at the top. Okay. Right like that. Okay, and with the peaceful deer, I'm going to use one of the sentiments that says, let's celebrate. There's some nice ones for the holidays. It's the best time of year, or from all of us, Merry Christmas. Wishing you a wonderful year and friendships, dear. Sending love and peace this season. And it has little snowflakes and some trees and a variety of woodland animals that you can put on there. So I just took, this is a scrap, I just took that and stamped let's celebrate on there. Now I'm just going to cut it down to fit on here. So I'm going to kind of make a little bit of a banner out of it. So I'm going to measure right where I want it to be. I like to just take my fingernail, make a little mark, and then I will trim that at that part there. Okay. And you could leave it square if you want. I'm going to make a little bit of like a banner cut to that. So to remind you how to do that, I'm going to trim it down where I want the points of the banner to be. I could do this with my paper trimmer too. But now with scissors, cut down the middle a little bit, however deep you want your points to be, and then cut from the corners to that part in the middle. And you have a nice little banner. Now Stampin' Up! Does have a punch that does banners, but not necessarily this thin. Okay, so now I'm just going to put that on top there. And I suppose I could have moved this down just a little bit, but that's okay. I'll leave a little bit of a border on the top and the bottom, and that should be nice. So I'm going to glue that down. And with the liquid glue, you have a little bit of room there to move it exactly where you want it before it totally sets. Okay, now I'm going to adhere that on with some dimensional dots. And just a reminder, Stampin' Up! Does have black ones. Now, because this is white here, I could use white or black, but because the background is black, I want it to has a lot of dark colors. I'm going to use the black ones. Okay, when you get the black adhesive Stampin' Dimensionals, it comes with the big ones and the little ones. So you have like a variety pack, which is kind of fun. We used to have to cut them all down, so now it's nice to already have them small, so you don't have to keep cutting them. Ooh, my fingers are a little sticky, it's hard to get it off. Okay, there we go. So that's going to be my focal point right there. And one thing with a plaid background, it's nice that you can make your focal point straight, right? You know, I have a little sticky glue there for my fingers. I was kind of rushing and I had some glue there. So this is a product, an adhesive eraser that Stampin' Up! Used to sell. We don't anymore, but you can get it in craft stores. So you just kind of rub that dried sticky glue off. Not while it's wet. Wait till it dries. And it kind of just rolls right off and collects on here, and then you can just eventually pull this off to clean it up. So see, no longer sticky. I'm going to take a little black matte dot, one of my favorites, and put one on there. I take your pick tool, and I'm going to just put a little dot right there. Okay, so now for the inside, we have two other pieces that are 4 by 3 3/4 as well. So that's going to go here. The other one is going to go here before we do our, put our pocket down. Now, if you wanted to put another DSP over here or stamp a light design on there, you can do that as well. I'll show that on the next card. Okay, so when you're putting this one down, I suggest to try to make even borders along the top, the left side, and here. You don't want to meet it up against your DSP here. Leave some space, because when this closes, you don't want that white showing through. So don't put it so far up close that your white's going to show. All right, so keep that in mind as you're doing it. I'm going to keep it closer to the left side, and you'll see that you will have a little bit more space on the right-hand side than the top, left, and bottom. So that will ensure that this inside piece doesn't show from the front. Okay, and again, make sure you're in the right direction. The 4-inch is the tall side. Okay, then you can do the same thing with the other piece on the other side. Now, you can center that. That's not going to matter. It won't show through in the front. Okay, and there we go. Adhere that down. Okay, so now we want to create our pocket. You want strong adhesive here because it's going to get a lot of work and putting a card in and out when you're giving your gift and you're going to take it in and out. So you do want to put your adhesive just on the edges of that pocket. So I suggest Stampin' Seal Plus, the tape. Okay, so I'm going to use the tape because sometimes the glue gets a little messy with this. So I'm going to use the tear tape. I'm going to put just a little piece down here. It's very strong adhesive for when you're doing something 3D or something that has movable parts or is going to get some work, like things going in and out. Okay, come on. Not a good angle here. Let me just do this and then trim it. There we go. Okay, so now I will pull those off. Again, take your pick tool is a good tool for that. Just gets right underneath that layer. And then fold it down. And then it's ready to accept your card. And then you're all done. Plenty of room for you to write something here or even here if you wanted to. So, isn't that cute? Here's the one I did with the older punch, Moose. And this birch paper was part of the same DSP that came with the celebrations last time. So that was fun. So I just thought the moose was fun on there. All right. And again, the white inside. So I'm just going to show you one other little version of this. And I did one where I used Snow Betty Better. And we're going in blue. And I used this big image here. Now, because it's all line art, if you want just a black line, that's fine. That could look fine too. But then if you want the color, you're going to have to do some coloring in. So what I did was I stamped on my white paper. Okay, so this is going to actually have, this is Night of Navy, and this is going to be Misty Moonlight. And I cut out the inside before I adhered my paper to it. So now I have a little rectangle, stitched rectangle that I can use on something else. So this is one of my dies that I used from before. So, okay, so I'm going to just show you a little bit about the watercolor pencils because I haven't showed you much before. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but some people haven't seen how the watercolor pencils work. So just to give you an idea, let's give this guy a little blue hat. Okay, so now the watercolor pencils come in two different assortments. This is assortment 2, and you have different colors in each assortment, of course. So if you wanted to, you can leave the pencils just as they are. You can just color in the area that you want. And let's give a little pom-pom here. And then you can take your blend pen or a slightly damp paintbrush and go over it. And if you can see